Hello, welcome to episode 2 in my podcast. Today I'll be speaking to Matt Garman, who is actually my uncle, and we're going to be talking a little bit about the Talisker Whisky challenge. So tell me a bit about the challenge and what you're taking part in, Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. We're a team of four dads. We're taking part in the Talisker Whisky Atlantic Challenge in 2022. So it's a row. We're going to row for 2 hours on, 2 hours off, for up to 2 months at sea, and we're looking to cover across just about 3,000 miles of ocean.
So it's interesting. I mean, have you done stuff like this before? Have you built up to it at all? What kind of gave you this idea to do this challenge?
Well, I've done a few crazy things, as my family would probably mention. I've been involved in some endurance events, sort of Ironman type stuff, a channel swim, trying to climb mountains and various bits and pieces like that. But living by the sea, I've always it's one of those challenges that's always been in my head. And I think one of the issues for me was um, was trying to find three other not idiots, crew members who wanted to come and jump in a boat for that long, really.
So in terms of your team, it's different. It's dads, which is very different from the rest of the people you're sort of competing against. Why do you think you sort of want to do it this way?
Yeah, I'm a great believer in, you give it a go. Why can't you? I look at people and I think, why can't I do things, or why can't we do those sorts of things? So it's one of those challenges it's been in the back of my head for a long time. I As I say, I've been. It's interesting. I've done quite a lot of individual events after packing up rugby, and the ones that really ring true for me are the ones where I've got a very small, tight knit team where we're all kind of suffering a little bit, but enjoying the pain and the experience along the way. And I think we've actually got together a pretty good strong team of different people. And I think the other thing is, I think we're going to have a bit of a crack along the way.
So tell me a bit more about your team, how you sort of put it together, what kind of characters you've got, and how you sort of feel like you'll gel together when you actually get to doing the challenge.
Yeah, well, I think I think as you alluded to earlier on, Josh, the most of the awful lot of the teams that go and look for these challenges, they've got a great pedigree in rowing, or they've got, might be professional rowers, they might be top sports people, or even some Olympic athletes have taken part in the Talisker Challenge. So yeah, we are definitely bucking the trend on that front. So yeah, four middle-aged dads, and obviously the team called Ocean Dad Venture. But yeah, no, we think we've got a decent unit. So there's myself. I've done a few endurance events. There's a good friend of mine, Neil Firminger, and Neil. I played rugby with for quite a long time. He's as strong as an ox, and he's a national level CrossFit guy. So he's fabulous. Alongside Neil, we've got James Reed, and James is another CrossFit enthusiast. He's operated at quite a high level. He's a weightlifting coach, and good fun. And then the final team member is an old friend of mine, Steve Woolley, and Steve's a really cracking laugh. He's good fun to be around. And he's also got, he's got plenty of pedigree as well. He's completed in 3 or 4 Ironmans. He's trekked to Everest Base Camp. So and I think the other thing is we're all we're long enough in the tooth and old enough to realise that we're probably not going to win it. But I think we've got a good team there going on, and I think we're gonna have some fun. It's called, they say Ocean Dad Venture for a reason. I think it's going to be an adventure, and I think we've got a great good team unit there, which is probably the most important, one of the most important things when you're looking to go away for what is going to be a real challenge and a big test of time.
So there's people do this for different reasons. And I'm sure like sort of younger lot that are driven by this, trying to come first. And obviously, you're not really trying to do that. You're trying to compete. And I feel like you from hearing about your team, it sounds like you've got a great chance. But also, you're doing it for charity as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I think as with a little bit traditional in these sorts of things, but in the same breath, we are going up, and it's going to be one heck of a challenge, physically and mentally. Um, and if you're going to do those sorts of things, yes, you want to, the success there for ourselves, and the we'll be pleased for, if we manage to make it to Antigua. Um, and But in the same breath, any opportunity to do something good is good. So yeah, we're looking to raise funds for two charities very close to our heart. The first one, given our age, and we're all kind of middle-aged dads, is increasing awareness for prostate cancer UK. Um, I was unfortunate enough. I lost my dad, your granddad, to to prostate cancer at the beginning of last year. So I said I'd like to do something there. And then also, we're looking to raise money for a fantastic local charity in Sussex called Wolo Foundation. And they do some amazing work raising funds and awareness for the families that are affected by somebody suffering from cancer. So it's not specifically for the individual suffering. It's very much for, quite a few times often overlooked is the impact on the family around somebody that's suffering from cancer. So what they strive to do is be supportive in finance, in kind, in all sorts of other ways, just to try and help people that are on that extremely uncomfortable and unpleasant journey.
So yeah, I think it's a good cause, and I think with anything, I feel like you have this opportunity to try and make a difference. And although you have this amazing challenge that you're doing, you know, with it, you have this kind of like vessel for making a difference to these families, which I think is a great thing. And I know it's 2022, it's a fair way away, but I presume you're already starting to prepare. I mean, have you got stuff in mind? Have you began training already?
Yeah, so we're training at the moment. We're probably, we're working mostly on strength. Um, Obviously, gyms and other things are all locked down, so the four of us are keeping each other up to speed on WhatsApp about what we're up to, and we're training pretty hard. And I know everyone's putting in a shift at the moment. Myself personally, I'm kind of just, I'd call it probably ticking over. At sort of, I don't know, I'm doing about 250,000, 300,000 meters a month on the rowing machine, in a small room. Which for anyone who goes down to the gym, and they probably, most people give it a spin at 1,000 or 2,000. So we're probably doing, you know, you know, 10 times that every day, just to keep the back strong and keep the rowing strong. And but already I've learned along the way that I need to do an awful lot more stretching that I have done before. And I think quite a lot of us have got desk jobs, so it was quite clear relatively early on that I needed to do a little bit more stretching and a little bit less loafing. So that's the kind of preparation on the training front. On the boat side of things, there's a great supplier called Rannoch Adventure, which supply an awful lot of the ocean rowing boats that take part in the Talisker Whisky Challenge. So, given the fact that we're going to be rowing non-stop from the Canary Islands to Antigua, we wanted to we made the decision that we wanted to give ourselves the best possible chance. So we've ordered a brand new Rannoch 45 boat, to get us across on our adventure, and that's going to be delivered to us hopefully in May this year. And the reason for that is, with us living down by the coast, it gives us two full summers to train and prepare and get used to the boat and all those sorts of things. So, as you can imagine, a 9 foot, 29 foot ocean rowing boat, it's only about 1.5 meters across, so there isn't a huge amount of personal space. So if you can visualize a rowing boat with two sort of ends on it, it's got two little cabin sections, one at the front and one at the back, where we can just about get two of us in there at any one time. But yeah, when we're actually on the ocean, we'll be rowing two up, two down So we'll probably be resting one in each cabin or something, just while we're getting some rest and some sleep and getting some food down the necks or something like that. So it's pretty exposed. It's made of fiberglass. It bounces around an awful lot. I think the most important and the most expensive piece of equipment on the boat is a desalination unit, which is basically a water maker. And what it does is it basically turns salt water into drinking water. And without that, I think we're pretty scuppered. But we will have to have a hand pump as a backup plan. And then beyond that, in terms of the preparation, we've got ourselves booked in for some navigation courses, some sea survival courses, some VHF radio courses. Obviously, as you can imagine, a brand like Talisker and some of their other aligned brands are they're extremely diligent when it comes to safety and making sure that we're as prepared as we possibly can be. So yeah, that's all extra work and extra training that we've got to do, and that's actually before we've even done much rowing, to be honest with you.
So, I mean, have you had the opportunity to take a boat out yet and actually get on the ocean, or is that something to come still until you get the new boat?
Yeah, no, none of us have been in none of us have stepped foot in an ocean rowing boat yet, other than we stood in one when we went up to the boat builders and realised relatively quickly quite how little personal space we're going to have once we actually leave port. So yeah, they're very small, they're very compact. Fortunately, they're self-righting. If the boat happens to capsize, it will flip itself back up again. But yeah, no, we've not done any practice, so it sounds a little bit naive and a little bit dumb, but yeah, we just we're limited to rowing machines at the moment, but I'm sure it'll all sort itself out and become clear once we get the boat and once we get out on the water.
Well, so there's obviously the real world conditions. I think once you're out there as a team, you can start figuring things out. So another thing I'm actually interested in is sort of the mental side. Is there anything you prepare for? I mean, you're living in close quarters with people for such a long period of time, and obviously because you're going through a sort of ordeal together, rowing bit by bit, and I suppose that sort of grinds you down. How do you think that's going to affect you, and do you have to prepare for that, or do you think you have the right team as it is from the beginning?
Yeah, I think I've been looking around when I first started thinking about putting together the team. There's a lot of people that put their hand up, and then when you actually explain what's involved, people put their hand down quite quickly because they decide it's not for them. So yeah, I think selecting the team is important because obviously we need to spend 24/7 in each other's company for quite a long period of time. So I think being tolerant and having people that are we're all like-minded people, we're going to get on that we can get on. But I think one of the challenges with a lot of people report is boredom. To be honest with you, there's an awful lot of time when you are actually literally just rowing and nothing else, sort of thing. So there's the boredom aspect of it, so the boredom, the repetitiveness. But I believe listening to people, the worst bit is the first 4 or 5 days when you're actually getting into this two on, two off sleeping and competing pattern, because obviously that's it's not what most of us are used to. So that bit there at the beginning is what I'm not looking forward to. Is being completely knackered and probably rolling around on a boat and having to get up and down every 2 hours to do my 2 hour rowing shift. So yeah, that's I suppose one thing that we probably can't prepare for. Although we've got some plans to do some coastal rows out off of Sussex. So yeah, preparing for that I think is going to be tough. I think preparing for the boredom and the whole cold hard slog of it all is gonna be a challenge. And yeah, but hey, that's why we sign up for these crazy things.
So obviously, you talk a little bit about the difficulties of doing it and sort of the repetitiveness, I suppose, of rowing two on. But what is the appeal? What's the bit that brings you the reason for doing it? Why do you want to attempt it in the first place?
I just think, I mean, as the slogan for the Talisker Whisky Atlantic Challenge is the world's toughest row, and I don't know, it's really interesting thinking about the psychology of things like that. I actually don't know. I think somebody said to me, Matt, I know what will happen. I got an idea what will be on your gravestone when you die, and I said, what's that? They said, I reckon it will just read, can I have a go, please? Because I'm just one of those people. I just want to try. I do believe that life's a journey, and you feel, taste, touch, smell as many things as you can in life, and then you'll decide what you like. And I just, you don't want to. I don't want to sit down and look at my feet when I'm 70 or 80 years old, if I'm fortunate enough to make it that age, and have any regrets. So to me, it's a great opportunity. And the other thing is so people say, oh, you must be crazy. And yeah, I'm sure there's an element of that, but then I do actually look at it, and it's like, well, I just, we can all, why can't we all have a go at something? And I feel that sometimes maybe it is, maybe I am crazy, but I look at it and it's like, well, I'd consider myself crazy for not trying to do as many things as I can in life, really. Yeah, so that's may sound odd to an awful lot of people, but that's just about how I feel about it. And the other thing is deep down, hand on heart, I believe we can get there and do a really, really good job.
Well, it's interesting. It's I resonate with this a lot, and I think talking about your journey and wanting to sort of set off and make the most out of the time you have, and this is something that's just a really step up. And from me having some conversations with you prior to this, actually being able to hear the passion and excitement in your voice over the challenge and sort of showing me maps of where you're going has been a really amazing thing. So it's nice to get a sense of that. And so, I mean, is there moments that you think you're gonna really stick with you? Are you expecting to have some sort of extreme weather or see things as you go along, or is it really just down to that experience of the team and sort of coming to the end of it and knowing that you've managed to get through it?
I think it's a whole combination of all of that, Josh. To be honest with you, I'm sure there's going to be some. I'm sure there's going to be some scary moments. I'm sure there's going to be some. There's generally a bit of bad weather along the way. Um, and yeah, so what generally happens is, if from what again, I'm learning along the way. I don't want to sound like I know much, because I don't, but for what I make out is if the weather's too rough and we can't row for any one reason or another, we have to put out what they call a power anchor, which is basically it's an underwater parachute that stops you from blowing too far off course or being knocked too far off course. So yeah, I'm not really looking forward to spending hours or even days just bobbing around on a power anchor and not being able to row. So not looking forward to that. As somebody who's always been interested and passionate about fishing, we are going to take a fishing rod with us, and I've seen some videos of some people catching some pretty cool fish off the back of the boat, and even eating it, ceviche it with a bit of citrus and a bit of lemon juice and stuff. So yeah, I'm sure we'll have a bit of fresh fruit and fresh fish, and maybe that will be a nice alternative to the um, you know, uh, freeze dried ration packs that we'll be eating for most of the time. So yeah, a bit of fishing, and then yeah, there's generally some good sightings of sort of dolphins, um, whales, and turtles, and also some marlin and those sorts of things as well. Although having said that, I hear that in this year's event there were three boats that were hit by marlin, and three of them that actually had a marlin spike impaled in the hull of the boat. So that doesn't sound too exciting.
that sounds that sounds pretty terrible. But I mean, it's quite a good story to tell, though. No.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been watching quite a few of the videos on YouTube, and naturally you start seeing, and there's some pain, and there's some horrible experiences along the way. But hey, it's all part of that adventure. And I think what I think the thing to do with these sorts of things is to try and take each day at a time. Don't get too far ahead of yourself. Be grateful for the progress you make, as with anything in life, I suppose, as much as anything else. and watching the videos is getting to that thought of actually getting to the finish line in Antigua and obviously meeting up with friends and family there, and hopefully have a well-earned beer and stuff. But I mean, I can't help but choke up when I see the teams on the videos, arriving at that final destination, having known that they've actually rowed all the way across the Atlantic Ocean. So, yeah, that I'm sure is going to be a tremendous feeling, and something I shall, look forward to, and hopefully cherish as a moment, as a memory for the rest of my life when we get there.
So I think it's an amazing thing, and obviously you've got to get through it first. And there's one more thing I wanted to talk about before we sort of give you the opportunity to tell me where I can find out about the Talisker Whisky Challenge and what you're doing. There's something interesting you told me before to do with these challenges. You talked about not sort of being set up for endurance early on, and you sort of have these stepping stones and various things you've worked up to with Ironman and other challenges that you take on. What sort of led you up to this point and feel that you could get there mentally to be able to go through this?
I've got no idea, to be honest with you, Josh. I think I played competitive rugby for quite a long time until I got to 40 or so. I think everyone needs an interest. I work very hard, like a lot of people do. I think everyone needs an outlet, and I'm just being a naturally competitive person, and also inquisitive as well. It's like I've seen people do these sorts of things, and I just look at it and it's like, well, I could do that. Well, why can't that be me? And I think what I believe is more often than not the limiting factor is actually what's in between your ears. And I think it's a bit like all sorts of other challenges that people set. It's they're in your head, or they're just a hope unless you actually commit to something. Okay, so granted, I'd probably go the other way and I kind of commit and then think, blooming heck, a little bit later or something like that. But no, I think the limiting factor most of these sorts of things is in your head, and I think you do get confidence from it's like the journey with up to Ironman. It's a friend of mine packed up playing rugby at the same time as me, and he said, "Oh, fancy doing a triathlon?" And I said, "Well, to be honest with you, I can't swim, or I couldn't at the time. I hadn't ridden a bike since my paper round, and I was a pretty lumpy runner." But he turned around and he said, "Yes, Matt," he said, "but you're really, really stubborn, and you go all in, and when you go all in, you're okay." So I went, that sort of spurred me on a little bit. I then committed to the swim, and obviously I went to two swim training sessions every single week, which obviously set me up for being able to swim the channel as well, which was obviously helpful. You buy a bike, you start getting better, you commit to your training. I think the other thing is surround yourself with like-minded people as well, because they'll grab you along the journey. And to be honest with you, although having go the triathlon all the way out to the Ironman route, for me personally, I've concluded I'm not really a solo athlete. I actually like to be part of a small tight unit. And going back to the triathlon stuff, I actually prefer the training than the events, because I'm around with a few people and we can have a bit of banter, and it's everyone's suffering at the same sort of thing. So those sorts of things. But they're all milestones, because you think I can do that, and then when you achieve that, you set yourself a task. You think, well, I can do that, and I've done that, so therefore I can do that. So we went from a sprint, a basic sprint, a triathlon, to an Olympic, to a half Ironman, to an Ironman, and then you think, well, hang on a minute, I can do that. So if I can run that far or swim that far, and then I can do something else, and I think it's an accumulation and stuff like that. So yeah, you just build confidence along the way, and pick up and learn things along the way as well.
Well, it's interesting. I remember you telling me. I mean, during my cycle, and you just said, "Well, you've just got to get from here to here, and you're not gonna die doing it. It's fully within your capability. It is just the mental side. It's just being able to basically say to yourself each day that you need to get there." So yeah, no, it's a really interesting thing, sort of how you build this challenge, and I think it's a really exciting thing. And obviously, hopefully, I can send you off and wave as you go with the rest of the family. So just as we sort of wrap up the podcast, do you want to give people where they can find out a bit more about it, or if they want to sponsor you, or find out about the charities or your website, where can they do that?
Yeah, that's all on it's all on our website. So we've got a website. It's oceandadventure.com. So dadventure as in the dads. So oceandadventure.com. You can find out about the team. You can find out about the boat. You can find out a little bit more about the challenge that we're going to be going through. There's a link there to our Just Giving page, and our Just Giving page has got our two charities, Prostate Cancer UK and also the Wolo Foundation on there as well. And if there's any businesses out there that would like some exposure, we also have a corporate sponsorship pack there, where firms are interested to support their marketing and PR. We got some great opportunities for some logos on the boat, some advertising. So we got some advertising on kit. And we're also taking those our sponsors, and we're also inviting them to come out on a rowing challenge with us out of New Haven, and feel part of the journey as well. And also, we're happy to do some talks and bring the boat to some events and those sorts of things. So, got some exciting sponsorship opportunities there if anyone's looking to extend their marketing and PR. So, a quick plug there at the end, if that's okay, Josh.
Yeah, no, it sounds great, and it's been great to chat to you. Hopefully, we can have a chat maybe nearer the time or even after the challenge, to kind of have a catch up on how things going on. And it's just nice to have you on as episode 2. Good to speak to you.
No problems. Thanks, Josh. Take care. Bye.
See you later. Bye bye.